A 7-year-old girl knelt by her father's grave, murmuring that he was still out there somewhere. People dismissed it as the imagination of a heartbroken child, until a wealthy stranger took her words seriously and uncovered a truth that silenced the skeptics. Please subscribe to our channel. We're building a community where kindness is our most cherished and honored word. The breeze wove through the graveyard like a forgotten melody, soft and wistful. Bare branches swayed above, dropping dry leaves onto the worn path. At the edge of the cemetery, where the headstone stood weathered and solitary, a small girl rested beside a marker too simple for the weight it carried. Lily Harper was 7, her coat too large, its hem brushing her knees, but it couldn't keep out the chill. Her hands, red from the cold, clutched a fistful of wilted dandelions she'd picked without thinking. She stared at the ground, as if it had stolen something precious. "He's not gone," she whispered, voice quivering. "He's still out there. I know it." No one replied, only the distant hum of a passing car and the groan of a rusted gate creaking open. Nora Caldwell had only meant to walk through, a bundle of daisies in her hand, a promise in her heart. Nora visited the same grave every year, speaking words she wished she'd said in life. But today her pace slowed. A girl sat alone by a new grave, talking to the earth as if it could hear. Nora paused at the base of the hill, not wanting to intrude. But something in the girl's stillness, her quiet voice, and the way she held her grief like a hidden treasure, stopped her. The headstone bore a name she didn't know. James Harper. No flowers, no photograph, just a stark stone, and a date only 3 weeks old. Nora stepped closer. "Hey there." Lily flinched but stayed put, looking up with tear-streaked eyes. Her lips trembled before she spoke. "Do you know how to tell if someone's still alive somewhere else?" Nora's breath hitched. She knelt beside her, the wind pulling at her scarf. "No," she said gently. "But that's not something a little girl should have to think about." Lily's voice was soft but sharp, far older than her years. "They lied about how he died. They said it was a heart attack, but my dad was strong. He never got sick." Nora looked at the grave, at the soil that seemed unsettled. "Who's they?" Lily hesitated, then recited, "The people at his job. The man with the loud laugh, and the woman who smiles like she's hiding something." Nora frowned. "Do you remember their names?" Lily nodded. "Mr. Thornton and Mrs. Vale." Nora's heart skipped. Victor Thornton. The name echoed in her mind. She'd funded a community center he managed. All grand promises and glossy brochures. "Why do you think he's still alive?" she asked. Lily pressed her hand to the dirt. "Because I see him in my dreams and he's calling my name." Neither spoke for a moment. A leaf drifted onto the headstone, then slid away. "I dreamed of my father, too," Nora said quietly. "He passed when I was young." Lily turned, eyes wide. "Did people think you were making it up?" Nora nodded. "All the time." They sat in silence, two strangers bound by loss and a quiet no one else could share. Then Lily whispered, "If someone took him away to keep him quiet, is that like murder?" Nora looked at the girl, seeing not just grief but a burning sense of wrongness. "It is," Nora said. "And if that's what happened, someone needs to know." Lily's voice was faint. "Then find him, please." A gust stirred the air. Nora stood, her hands unsteady, looking at the grave and the girl whose world had been buried too soon. Behind them, an older man approached, Samuel Wren, who tended the cemetery's roses. He carried a trowel and a weary expression from years of seeing too much. He nodded at Nora, then glanced at Lily. "She comes here every day," he said. "Sits quiet, says the same thing. Her dad didn't die like they said." Nora's throat tightened. She might be right. Something shifted in Nora Caldwell's heart, not from sorrow, but from a spark of recognition. The past had a way of echoing in new faces, and this time she wouldn't turn away. Nora didn't share her story often, not in boardrooms, not at charity events, not even in the quiet of her sprawling loft overlooking the river. People thought her reserve was elegance. It was memory. Some wounds, when ignored too long, reopen with ghosts. A tech investor, a philanthropist with her name on hospital wings. She was successful by every measure. But the part of her that never faded was a girl who once sat in a foster home, waiting for a father who never returned. She'd come to the cemetery out of habit, a bouquet, a prayer, a walk back to her car. But Lily's voice, fragile yet fierce, followed her home, lingering through her meals, her restless nights. Do you know how to tell if someone's still alive somewhere else? The question haunted her, echoing her own childhood doubts. She remembered clutching a locket her father gave her, not knowing he was gone until the social workers. Cold words. Some kids think the world owes them answers. It doesn't. Nora had spent her life proving that wrong. The next morning, she sat in her office, sunlight spilling across the desk. Ignoring emails, she searched for James Harper. The results were sparse. A brief obituary. Local mechanic dies of heart attack. Survived by daughter. No photo, no service details. It felt incomplete. That afternoon, she visited the address Lily had mentioned, a rundown community center. More warehouse than haven. Through a dusty window, she saw Lily sitting alone, whispering to herself. Inside, the receptionist's smile was strained. When Nora asked about James, the woman's tone shifted. He was one of ours. Nice guy, tragic end. Heart gave out, they say. Kids don't always understand, Nora pressed. Did you know him well? The woman shrugged. Not really. Kept to himself. Nora left, but the words lingered. Kids don't always understand. They sounded rehearsed, too neat for the mess of loss. That evening, Nora called a contact, Elena Ruiz, a former volunteer at her foundation, now a paramedic. When she mentioned James Harper, Elena paused. He worked at Thornton's Center, right? He wasn't supposed to die. Nora's pulse quickened. What do you mean? Elena's voice dropped. He called me days before. Said something was off. Equipment failures, missing funds. He had proof, said he'd report it. Then he was gone. Nora's silence stretched. Why would someone kill him? Elena's reply was sharp. To hide what he found. Nora walked the pier that night, the air thick with salt. She thought of her father, whose grave she never saw, of Lily kneeling in the dirt, of James Harper erased without a trace. She'd built a life of achievements, but now, under a starless sky, she whispered, I'm still here. The girl in the foster home waiting hadn't left. She knew what she had to do. The next day, Nora stood outside the children's home, watching Lily shuffle past with other kids. The building sagged, paint peeling, smelling of bleach and old soup. Lily's walk was cautious, like someone who'd learned not to expect much. Nora followed her to a park where Lily sat under a willow, sketching in the dirt with a twig. Nora approached. Remember me? Lily's face brightened, then guarded. I didn't tell anyone, she said. Nora smiled. You didn't need to. I came back. Most people don't, Lily said, her voice too wise for her years. Nora sat beside her. I thought that too when I was your age. I waited for my dad, but he never came. No one told me he was sick until he was gone. Lily's eyes softened. They said my dad's heart stopped. But he was healthy. He fixed cars, lifted heavy things. Nora asked, did they let you see him? Lily shook her head. They said it was better not to. He used to whistle when he worked, Lily whispered. He had a scar on his thumb, like a little star. Nora's chest ached. Sometimes people forget those details, the real ones like whistling or scars. Lily looked at her. Do you think he's out there? Nora hesitated. I think something's wrong. And when something's wrong, you don't walk away. You ask questions. Lily showed her a crumpled drawing, a man with a kind smile, a girl beside him, a crescent pendant around his neck. This was the last night, she said. He promised he'd be back. Nora's voice was thick. He looks like someone who meant to keep that promise. They sat quietly, leaves swirling. A chaperone called Lily back. Nora handed her a slip of paper with her number. If you need to talk, call. Lily took it carefully, then looked back. You're the first who didn't think I was just a kid. Nora nodded. When Lily was gone, she sat on a bench, staring at the sky. Forgetting didn't heal, it buried. She made a silent vow to Lily, to James, to the girl she'd been. James Harper was a steady light, unassuming but warm. He worked at Thornton's Community Center, fixing cars, teaching kids to change oil. The staff called him reliable. The kids called him Coach for his quiet encouragement. He brought donuts on Saturdays and knew every volunteer's name. His absence was brushed aside too easily. The garage lights flickered near Bay 3, and James had once laughed it was the building's pulse. But he wasn't laughing when he found a ledger with missing funds. Entries marked maintenance for equipment that didn't exist. He'd shown it to Elena Ruiz in the break room, voice low. "This isn't right. People are losing out." Elena frowned. "Be careful, James." He shook his head. "Careful doesn't help the kids who need this place." He kept a journal noting dates, names. Victor Thornton walked in once, all smiles, but his eyes lingered on the journal. "You're a hard worker, James," he said. "Loyalty like that is rare, but so is discretion." James didn't flinch. Honesty should be the default. That weekend, James and Lily built a birdhouse, her small hands hammering nails. "Why don't you have more friends, Dad?" she asked. He laughed. "I've got you, kiddo." "That's enough." She paused. "You're not lonely, right?" He hugged her. "Not with you around." Monday came. It rained. James didn't drive to work. His keys were still in his jacket when they found him. The staff was told it was a heart attack. No memorial, no belongings returned. Just a schedule change. Elena tried to retrieve James's journal, but it was gone. "Probably lost," a clerk said, avoiding her eyes. That night, Elena wrote down everything she remembered. When Nora called, she said, "He was killed." "No one says it, but I know." Nora met her, took the notes, and promised to act. Not everyone at the center knew, but some suspected. Clara Voss, James's neighbor, heard raised voices the night he vanished, sharp, controlled. She peeked out but stayed silent. "Not my business," she told herself. The night guard, Tim Holt, saw an envelope labeled Severance the next day. He cashed it, avoiding mirrors. But Officer Daniel Pierce, young and stubborn, listened when Nora asked about the death certificate. "No autopsy, no witnesses," he said. "Signed by Dr. Alan Hurst, county coroner." Nora visited the florist, Ruth Delaney, who'd sold James daisies the night he disappeared. "He said they were for someone forgotten," Ruth recalled. His eyes were heavy, like he knew something was ending. The daisies were found in a dumpster, untouched. Nora gathered the pieces, Elena's notes, the certificate's flaws, Tim's payment. The truth was close, but incomplete. Lydia Thornton found it, a memo in her husband Victor's briefcase, dated before James's death. Termination processed, no further inquiry. Lydia, married to Victor for decades, knew his tells, the calm before a cover-up. She remembered James, who'd fixed her car for free when her mother passed. She didn't sleep that night. She called Elena. "I need to meet someone who cares about the truth." At a gala for Thornton Center, Nora moved through the crowd, carrying James's story like a weight. Victor spoke on stage, all charm. Nora approached. "Mr. Thornton," she said, "we need to talk about James Harper." His smile faltered. "Tragic loss," he said. He pushed himself too hard. Nora held his gaze. "Or someone pushed him out." She listed the evidence, forged records, Lydia's memo, Ruth's memory. Victor's composure cracked. "You'll ruin more than me," he warned. Nora replied, "I'm here for a girl who misses her father." Outside, Lydia handed Nora a USB drive, emails, ledgers, proof. "I'm afraid," she whispered. Nora nodded. "So am I, but courage starts there." Later, Nora left a sketchbook and pencils for Lily, with a note, "For your stars, for the truths you held on to."